You're listening to the Miami Guides podcast.
Another unique thing about Miami is the network of food bloggers. It's by far the biggest network I've ever seen, hands down.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Guide podcast. Today we have a great guest and friend on the show. He is a Miami-based, award-winning British chef and entrepreneur. We have Justin Brown in the house. Now, Justin recently moved from Amsterdam to Miami, and he has been a Chef of the Year in the UK for about 3 years in a row. Justin has worked with some of the most recognizable hotels and restaurants and big chefs like Jamie Oliver. Well, prior to Miami, Justin lived in Amsterdam for about 5 years, where he opened various restaurants. Well, in this interview, we talked about what inspired him to become a chef and start his own restaurants. Also, we talked about how his move was to Miami, and of course his favorite neighborhoods in the 305. Well, Justin has exciting plans coming up in the future, expanding his restaurant business in Miami and around the world. So stay tuned. Justin has an inspiring story coming up right now. Welcome back, everyone, to the Miami Guide podcast. I'm excited about our guest today. We got the award-winning British chef Justin Brown in the house. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good. Thanks for having me today.
All right, glad you're here. So I'm seeing you on social media, and yeah, you're extremely busy. I mean, you opened your own restaurant in Miami. You did some collaborations with Aston Martin. I'm seeing you're
Correct.
Traveling as well, Portugal,
yes.
and even launched your own beer now.
Yes.
So
that's right.
Yeah. Could you tell us something about yourself? How did you get started, and why did you start your own restaurants?
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, my name's Justin Brown. I've been a professional chef my entire life, from the age of 16. I'm just about to turn 39. So I've been a little while in the kitchens now. And, I trained and worked in London as soon as I finished school. I worked in the high-end restaurants, the Michelin star restaurants. I did it the way it had to be done back then. So you really needed to go to like a cooking school, get your qualifications, work in a very high-end restaurant, preferably like a Michelin star restaurant. So I did it the right way that it was in the kind of 90s. I mean, now it's not so, it's not needed as much now, people just kind of go and experience and stuff like that. But when I started out, the qualifications were very important. And I kind of started in cooking because, number one, of course, I enjoyed cooking. It wasn't necessarily a career back then, but it quickly became a career when the celebrity chefs began on TV and kind of exploded. Then people started to look at it more as a career. And it was also a chance for me to travel. I realized that if I cooked, language is not so important. If you can cook, you can cook. And, I've worked in kitchens where I don't speak, the language of the kitchen I'm in. They don't speak English, and you can still communicate. So I saw an opportunity to travel. And once I was qualified, and I'd worked 5-6 years in London, and I'd worked with Jamie Oliver, and people like that. And then from there, I started to travel. And I worked in high-end restaurants for many years, and probably around 5-6 years ago, perhaps a little bit longer, I decided to kind of take a step back. And working in those high-end restaurants, they demand a lot of time. many hours, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And it's very, very labor intensive. It's very hard on your social life and your personal life. And so I decided to go more casual. And, that's when I launched my Chippy concept, my fish and chip concept. And I was living in Amsterdam at the time. And I was in Amsterdam and just wanted fish and chips because I hadn't been home for a while, and realized there wasn't any. And then I kind of found my niche there of, I'm an English guy cooking a traditional product from England, but I was doing it very well in a kind of Instagrammable way. People could take pictures of it. And it really took off. And it's a much more casual, fast type of food, of course, fast food. But if it's done with fresh products and it's still done correctly and everything's homemade, which it is, then I still get the fulfillment doing that as I would working in a sort of fine dining restaurant. I mean, maybe not all chefs would probably agree with that, but for me personally, as long as I'm still doing kind of home cooking or homemade food, for me that's enough. And the kind of more relaxed atmosphere in the kitchen, and everyone's a little bit happier and they're working a little bit less, and
right.
So that was where that came from. And then my wife is American, and she's worked with an American company for the past 14 years, and the opportunity came to move to Miami, where they had an office. And, we discussed it for a while, and we actually visited Miami a couple of times, just to have a look around and see what was going on. And at the time I moved out to Miami, the restaurant scene was good, but perhaps people weren't classing it as, the best food scene in America. But it was up and coming. And I would say, since I moved to Miami, it just exploded. I mean, it was kind of, I think, right place, right time is a good assumption, because something happened in the air. I'm not sure, but the restaurant scene is unbelievable, And then I moved to Miami, and I think 3-4 months later, pandemic hit. So I was thinking, well, what can I do? And the Chippy worked so well for me in Amsterdam. I thought, well, let's see if I can, do the Chippy in Miami. Would that work? So the same kind of thing. I had a look. No, there's actually not fish and chips here. I was quite surprised. But the good thing with my concept is that it can be a restaurant, but it also can completely survive as just a takeaway and delivery business, because in England, 95 to 98% of the people go and get fish and chips to either eat at home or go sit on a bench or go to the park. Very, very rarely will people actually eat fish and chips in a restaurant, except maybe people traveling past. Of course, Miami's a little bit unique with the weather, and, people love the terraces. They love to go out every night. So it was actually quite easy to turn the concept into a restaurant concept, because you can do fish and chips, but then, the Miami twist, serving cocktails and wine and craft beers from Wynwood Brewery and things like this. And then suddenly it became a restaurant. So I did do this during the pandemic. So I partnered with a local restaurant in Brickell, because they were also only doing delivery at the time. So I thought I would try it out and see what happened. And the response was very, very, overwhelming. It was amazing. I mean, within the first month, I was on Deco Drive and NBC. They wanted to film there, and they wanted to kind of find out what was going on and how I made the food and what it looked like and how it tasted. And then, of course, another unique thing about Miami is the network of food bloggers. Mm-hmm. It's by far the biggest network I've ever seen, hands down. I mean, number one, there's a lot of them.
Right.
Number two, they all know each other. Number three, they have a huge following.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of them have, 300,000, even 900,000 followers. So there's some sort of serious heavy hitters all living right in the center of Miami, in Brickell and South Beach and the Design District and Edgewater.
Right.
So I contacted a few of them, and they came and tried the food, and they put it on Instagram, and they loved it. And then, naturally they told their friends, and everyone came, and this kind of network of people supported the concept through the pandemic, which just gave it this amazing kind of push, and everyone loved it. And the expat community in Miami as well, especially the Brits, had no idea at the time how many there really was living in Miami. I mean,
right.
From what I looked at and the research I did, I thought maybe, a few hundred, or maybe I was being naive. I'm not sure. But I mean, in the beginning, especially, it was kind of 80%, 90% British people eating every night. And I was like, where are they all coming from? And I had no idea. And, the British embassy, they started to come and shared it with their network. And it was great. So our quickest sellout. So I used to open at 4 p.m. and it was, I think, the second Friday that I was open, and everyone ordered online. So you could order online from 4 p.m. So at 4 p.m. the orders came in, and the quickest I did was 16 minutes. We sold out for the entire day. And it on the weekends it was really like that. So that was just a pop-up, kind of like an experiment stroke collaboration, to see if it could work. I did not want to commit to, especially during a pandemic, I did not want to commit to, spending the money or taking on a lease on a restaurant with such kind of uncertain times. But, again, with Miami, it bounced back at an extremely fast pace, and the economy just skyrocketed.
Right.
The amount of people moving to Miami and bringing their restaurants from California, Texas, New York especially. And it's just bringing people, and all of the mayor's doing a fantastic job over there in Miami. So he's really getting all of the tech companies involved. And they're starting to open offices there, which is bringing more people, which is bringing more restaurants. So it's the circle of life. So the Chippy's currently closed, but I'm in talks with a couple of people now about launching sometime this year. That's the plan. So in a number of ways, perhaps a food truck, because I have an opportunity for a food truck, and the food truck scene in Miami, because of the outdoor lifestyle and the festivals and the parks, it is one great option, and a restaurant is another option. And the ghost kitchens, where you don't have a physical location, you just have a kitchen where you provide takeaway and delivery. And there's one opening on South Beach. There's two opening in Wynwood, and Brickell Key has one. And there's more in the works as well, at least 2 or 3 more that I know of. And I'm sure there's more that I don't know about. So the ghost kitchen is becoming very popular as well with the American celebrity chefs. And there's a few kind of, celebrities in America that are rolling out these concepts. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah. So, and Americans really like the British cuisine, right? That they like the food.
Yeah, absolutely.
And could you explain to the audience what exactly is a ghost kitchen? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so a ghost kitchen ghost kitchens have been around for quite a while. maybe not so popular, but the pandemic boosted this ghost kitchen thing big time. But essentially, a company will take a big building like a warehouse, and they will build, between 10 and 30 kitchens, and you don't need a restaurant license, because you don't have customers come to the location. So, 10, 20, 30 different businesses can run out of this one building, and it's just a delivery and collection only for food. So if you order on Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, they will go to these kitchens, collect the food, deliver it to your house.
Right.
So some of them do their own delivery as well. So it's a very cheap way of providing food to the area you're in, because you only have chefs. You don't have all of the legalities. You don't need the restaurant licenses. So the only downside, of course, is you don't have a physical location. No one can actually come and visit you and sit down and have a drink. So it purely is for the delivery of food only. But a lot of people use them now to test out new concepts, because these kitchens, you could change the concept every week if you so desired. So they use it. They go on all the platforms, they test out a concept. If the concept works and people enjoy it, then they go and start looking for locations. So it's just a cheap entry point into hospitality to start delivering your food. And again, the pandemic definitely boosted that, because people couldn't eat in restaurants anyway. So it didn't really matter. And you also might have a large chain or a restaurant that's too busy that would just use a ghost kitchen for the delivery to take the pressure away from their restaurant.
Okay.
So that's another way they use them as well. So they're very popular now, and I think they're here to stay.
Well, great. I think you're doing amazing, and as hearing your story, you started in London with the big guys like Jamie Oliver, moved to Amsterdam, also found there a gap in the market and became successful, and now moved to Miami. And you found actually the same gap with fish and chips.
Exactly.
What has been actually your biggest struggle with the move to Miami? Did everything go as planned, or did you experience some stuff that you didn't expect?
No, I mean, except for the fact that I'm British, and I need specific paperwork, green cards and work permits and things. There was a delay with that. I mean, there's always a delay with those kind of things, but the pandemic definitely didn't help. So, but apart from that, no. I mean, I'd not lived in America before, and I was a little bit probably dubious about how would I kind of cope in the situation of living in America. I've only ever been on holiday. But no, I adjusted very well. But, again, I think it's the weather helps. I mean,
right. Definitely in Miami.
the weather, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to smile when it's, 28 degrees almost every day of the year. And the beach. I love the beach. I love the sand. Almost every week, I go to South Beach. And go for a swim, So the people are very welcoming and very nice, and everyone seems to like the Brits in Miami. So, and I think if there's lots of opportunities. So if you're doing something cool or interesting, or then Miami's the place, because they're always going to accept that, and they're always looking for, there's a very young community now in Miami. I think people always, especially used to, associate Miami with just retired people living. That's absolutely not the case, especially not anymore. Maybe it used to be, but not anymore. There's a lot of young tech guys. There's lots of business owners, entrepreneurs. People have a higher disposable income there than they might in other places. So they like to go out. They like to socialize. They like to drink and eat. So, that's why everyone wants to open a restaurant there. And I don't blame them.
And I think also you can easily compare, because you lived in quite a few places. Is it easier to connect with people and to do business in Miami compared to, let's say UK or Europe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, easier than the UK, I would say. Again, I think it comes down to, it depends on what you're doing, of course. But for me personally, just talking about the restaurant industry, as I just mentioned, this kind of community of large community of bloggers and food bloggers and, social media bloggers and all this kind of, all these kinds of things, like the Miami Guide, there's so many different varieties of people on social media that live in Miami, whether it's fashion or food or design or architecture, whatever it may be. So once you kind of tap into those communities, which, by the way, is very easy, you just send people messages. Everyone replies. I mean, if all you need to do is message these people and ask them a question, and from my experience, they will help if they can, but I think sometimes people just feel like they shouldn't ask, or maybe they think, well, the Miami Guide has over 130,000 followers, so I'm not going to message them. They're never going to reply. But it's not the case. Just send a message,
Yeah.
And you never know. That's how you make the connections.
Yeah, definitely. We respond to all the messages that we receive.
Yeah.
What are some of the influencers that you follow or reached out to?
Well, Rachel from Stick a Fork in Me, she was great. She came and filmed 2 or 3 videos for me and put them on social media. And she actually opened the door to inviting the Naughty Fork, who also came and did a couple of videos, and then another account called Honey I'm Gouda. She actually ended up lives in the building next door to my building. Just complete coincidence, and we kind of see each other out all the time and things like this. And she's been a great supporter. And Mr. 305 Eats, he came, did some videos, and the first person was the Instagram account, Chat Chow, Gio, and he was the first one that responded to me, and he came and ate on the first day and posted on the first day, and he has a large following, and from there, that kind of started it off. So, and again, they all know each other.
Right.
So if one of them finds something good like that, they will tell each other, and that, they have their groups that they speak to and things like this. So, it's a great community to be involved in, and they're always looking for interesting things and content, and they're looking for, I do my deep fried Mars bars, which they all videoed, because I don't think anyone had seen that before. So when it's things like that, they show an extra interest because so it's great. Yes,
so
they're all supported.
So you introduced the Mars fried bars to Miami.
To Miami, possibly, yeah. I think I did, yeah. The deep fried Mars bars in the batter for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some pretty wacky stuff in Miami, though, I must say, especially when it comes to desserts and things are definitely larger than life.
Which area do you recommend people to visit in Miami, and why?
Well, I mean, most people would say South Beach, but South Beach is South Beach. That kind of speaks for itself. If I do go to South Beach, I always go to South Point. And the reason is because that's where kind of the good restaurants are. They're all around. There's good restaurants all around South Beach, but South Point, there's a little cluster. You have Joe's Stone Crab, which I'm personally obsessed with.
Really?
I think it's been there 103 years. I think it's 103, 105 years. I'm obsessed with it. I go there all the time. And then of course you have your famous ones like Prime 112, Pappy Steak, and all of these kind of places. Stubborn Seed, I like, by Chef Jeremy Ford. I've been there 2 or 3 times. He was the winner on Top Chef.
Right.
And they're all on South Point, so that's great on South Beach. And then Brickell's another great area, and there's Sexy Fishes opening in Brickell, which is a concept from London. There's a lot of new restaurants opening in Brickell, and it's great because everything's pretty close, and close to each other, and there's some bars and clubs and things like that. I always get pizza from DC Pie and Mr. O1, and then Wynwood is the third location that I love. It's just so much fun. The graffiti, again, the restaurant scene in Wynwood is really good, and also they've got the kind of food court concepts. There's a new one about to open. Called Oasis, and you have 1-800 Lucky and all of that. And then the last place is the Miami Design District, which is booming. Everyone is going there. Kote, the Korean steakhouse, which has 1 Michelin star in New York, has opened there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of the big guys from New York are opening in the Design District, and it's just a very cool place. If you like to shop, eat, and drink, then the Design District's definitely an area you need to go and check out.
Yeah,
so that's probably my top 3-4 places.
Definitely. Miami has such a variety of places, all so diverse. Wynwood, you named Miami Design District, Little Havana, south of 5th, Brickell, and every location is unique. What advice do you have for if somebody would start his own restaurant in Miami? What advice would you have for him or her?
Well, I mean, I would say everyone that's opening a restaurant in Miami is opening for a reason, and they most likely know what they're doing, and they're most likely bringing a concept. So but for people that are maybe beginning and haven't had a restaurant before, that wants to open a restaurant in Miami, it just has to be something, unique,
right? Or
something a little bit, something that's going to attract people, because competition is fierce now. And, another 150 restaurants projected to open in the next 3-4 months. The competition is going to get even fiercer. Fish and chips is not a unique thing, but no one else is doing it. So it kind of gives me the uniqueness, and I put my kind of spin on things, and I have some other British classics. But yeah, I think that's the key. you just can't survive anymore in Miami by just opening a kind of run-of-the-mill standard restaurant. It's just not necessarily anything wrong with that, but you have your classics. If you want to go for a Cuban sandwich, you know where to go. If you want to get croquettes, you know where to. You have your classics for these kind of things. So it's very hard to kind of tap in with the kind of classic food, So that's why all of these kind of more unique or bigger concepts or concepts which are already famous or well established are opening in Miami, because they already have that fan base or following. So it's much easier for them. And Miami's not cheap as well.
Right.
Rent is increasing and increasing and increasing. And the more people that want to open in Miami, naturally that brings the price of rents up. So that's something, which is why the ghost kitchens are a good idea, and why food trucks are a good idea, to try out concepts, because of course it's so much cheaper than investing in an actual space in Miami, because it's not cheap, but the demand is there and the people are there, and people want to go out. So
okay.
It's
definitely. Competition is fierce. Yeah, like you said, so many people are moving these days to Miami. A lot of people from up north, New York. Everybody seems to move down to Miami. What are you hoping to do for the future? Do you have any expansion plans? I hear you talking about Portugal. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, my concept, the Chippy, I've done it in Amsterdam successfully. As the pop-up for the last year in Miami successfully. So, I've decided to kind of, I've been building the brand for kind of 5 years now. So now it's time to start opening locations. So I already have, and that includes Europe as well, because, I am English and I have strong connections with Europe. And this is a concept that can be done kind of anywhere. So on April 10th this year, so in just 2 or 3 weeks, the Chippy in Lisbon in Portugal is going to open with a terrace and delivery and takeaway. With the full Chippy menu. From there, in Europe, we're looking at Madrid and back into Amsterdam. And in Miami, looking in particularly Wynwood, because Wynwood is more a kind of, fun, kind of relaxed, younger crowd, where my concept works very well there. So that's definitely where I'd like to start, and where I'm looking at locations in Miami. And then, I think the food trucks as well. I think it's something, I already have one food truck lined up. So, we're going to try and get something open definitely this year. Definitely one place this year in Miami. I'm speaking with a few people now. There's a lot of people that are looking to open new concepts, and I have a concept that's great. So so we'll see how it goes. But this year, definitely there will be a Chippy in Miami in some form. I'm just taking my time. I want to make sure I get the right place and the right partners, and I do it correctly. And, I don't want to do the pop-up was great, but that was a pop-up. Now it's time to find a real location. And, I'm getting messages from angry Brits almost on a daily basis asking for their fish and chips. So I need to move faster.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think you're doing amazing, Justin, and I'm looking forward to visit your.
Thank you very much.
Your your restaurant in Wynwood or maybe Portugal or wherever in the world you will open up.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can you share where people can find out more about you, follow you on Instagram?
Absolutely. Yeah, my Instagram account is Justin Brown Chef.
All right.
On that's my personal page, but on there I do mainly food posts, but also all the information about the Chippy. And then I have a website which is justinbrownchef.com. So it's very, very simple. And from there you can also, there's links to the Chippy and about the locations and all this kind of stuff. So, but at the moment, Instagram is the platform I use the most. I find it very easy to communicate with people. I love the stories, and it's very easy to put. And just a lot of people are using Instagram. I think it's the most popular app at the moment. I might be wrong, but for me, I love Instagram. So Justin Brown Chef. That's where I post. 99% of my stuff. So if anyone wants to find out, they can just go there.
Yeah, I think Instagram is
always answer questions.
Great. All right, we will share that in the show notes. You also wrote.
Thank you very much.
You also wrote a book. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I wrote a book called Dining Through the Seasons, and it's a cookbook about if you want to host a dinner party at your house. So it kind of provides you with menus, a 3-course dinner, and then you'll have the recipe how to make this, to make each dish. So yeah, that was good fun, and I would like to do a Chippy cookbook in the future. I think that's probably going to be the next one. That's something I'm looking at doing, hopefully in the near future. So that would be an Instagram.
Okay. Well, Justin, it was great talking to you, and I wish you lots of success. And
thank you very much.
Keep in touch. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Miami Guide podcast as much as we enjoyed creating it. Well, you can find more information about our guest in the show notes. And if you haven't subscribed to our show yet, please take out your phone right now and subscribe to the Miami Guide podcast so that you don't have to miss another show. All of our episodes are also on our website, themiamiguide.com. And I would love to hear your feedback about the episodes. I appreciate if you'd leave me a review on iTunes. Well, we have more episodes coming up. We're brewing with ideas, stories and content we can't wait to share with you. Well, once again, my name is Mike, and I'm here to inspire you with amazing stories, capturing the vibes of Miami, and help you discover the magic of this city. You can follow us online everywhere as The Miami Guide, on Instagram, Facebook, and our website, themiamiguide.com. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next episode.